Today, we will discuss the isolation of income and substitution effects in case of inferior goods and Giffen goods. We know that in case of inferior goods, as the income of the consumer rises, the consumption of the good falls. Do watch the videos on income and substitution effects and the explanatory video on inferior goods and Giffen goods if you haven't done so. So, let's move on. First, let's see the income and substitution effects in case of an inferior good. The consumer purchases two goods, food and clothing. The consumer is initially at budget line RS and the optimum bundle of the consumer is at A in indifference curve U1. Assume that the price of food falls. As a result of the fall in price, the budget line of the consumer rotates from RS to RT. The consumer moves to the bundle B at indifference curve U2 as a result of the fall in the price of food. So, this movement of the consumer from A to B happens as a result of the price effect. Now, let's isolate the price effect into income and substitution effect. For that, draw an imaginary budget line CY. Note that CY is drawn parallel to the new budget line RT and tangential to the initial budget line RS. Here, with the imaginary budget line CY, we are taking away the additional real income of the consumer from RT. At the same time, we are keeping the level of satisfaction of the consumer or the relative prices constant in imaginary budget line CY with regard to RT. We can see that the consumer moves to bundle D as a result of this. Hence, the movement from B to D is due to the income effect. So, this means that the movement from E to F2 represents the income effect. This is because when the real income is taken away from the consumer, he moves from B to D. Now, let's decipher the substitution effect. So, we need to know how much the consumer substitutes one good for another when the price level changes. Here, we keep the level of satisfaction constant at U1. So, the substitution effect is the movement from A to D. That is F1E. The total effect of a price change is the addition of income and substitution effect. We know that in case of an inferior good, income effect is negative, as a fall in income raises the quantity demanded of the good. But here, as we can see, the substitution effect is so strong, as shown by the movement from A to D. That is F1E. So, the substitution effect is dominating the income effect in case of an inferior good, as shown by this example. So, the total effect or the price effect is substitution effect, that is F1E plus income effect, that is minus F2E, which is F1, F2. Since the substitution effect exceeds the income effect, the price effect is positive. So, a decrease in the price of food leads to an increase in the quantity of food demanded in case of inferior goods. Now, let's move on to the case of Giffen goods. So, here the consumer is initially at budget line CK. His optimum point of consumption is at A at indifference curve U1. As a result of a decline in the price of food, the consumer moves to budget line CT, where his optimum point of consumption moves to B. So, the consumer moves to a higher indifference curve U2 as a result of decline in the price of food. Now, we draw an imaginary budget line PK in order to isolate the income and substitution effects. So, the consumer moves to the optimum market basket D at indifference curve U1. Let's graphically isolate the income and substitution effect here as we did in the case of inferior goods. The income effect of the consumer is represented by the movement from D to B, that is shown by EF2. Now, let's have a look at the substitution effect. It is represented by a movement from A to D, that is F1E. Here, as we can see, the income effect EF2 is much larger than the substitution effect F1E. As we learned, the Giffen good is also an inferior good where the income effect is negative. So here, the total price effect is income effect plus substitution effect, which is minus EF2 plus F1E, which equals minus F1 F2. So here, the total effect or price effect is negative. This means that the decrease in the price of food leads to a lower quantity of food demanded. I hope this concept is clear. Thank you.